Hi everyone, welcome back to ChäoS Head. Let's continue off from where we left. Taking the green. Oh geez, that Moy phrasing of hers made me downright dizzy. Was you the carrying big sister type? She was real dangerous, luring me in like this. She had to be plotting something.
それで西条くんにお願いがあるんです。
A favor? Surely she didn't mean.
私、あなたのことが好きなんです。
Oh man.
ずっと西条くんのこと見てました。
Oh shit, this is serious.
もう見てるだけじゃ嫌なんです。
Yua's face was bright red for some reason. After her sudden confession, she abruptly took off her top. What? Alright, this seems like it's going places. Let me just go get a spoon. Taking a bashful glance at me and my confusion, she shed her skirt as well. Her panties peeked from under the hem of her remaining blouse. They were black. Majors points to her for acting embarrassed while doing something so daring, but my thoughts couldn't keep up with such a sudden development. It was all I could to swallow the saliva in my mouth. I guess it was all I could do. Yu went even further. Putting her hands onto the buttons of her blouse, she undid them from the top down, one by one. Oh man! And then, slowly as to inflame me, she dropped her blouse to the floor. Underneath, inexplicably, she was wearing a racing swimsuit. Spunky high cut, so tight it dug into her. What had appeared to be black panties were in fact the part of her racing suit. Hey, that said, in spite of her mild-mannered face, you had awfully big boobs. Let's just say good job to how she avoided taking off her knee socks, and leave it at that. But
私のこと好きにしてください。
alright, I'll see you guys later.
めちゃくちゃにしていいですから。
Holy fuck.
No.
All I could do was become speechless. You know, shit. Under ordinary circumstances, there was no way such a thing as a 3D girl. There was no such thing as a 3D girl who would say things like this toward the male she just met. It was all but impossible. It was hot, but it didn't get me moied up. I feverishly forced my reason, which was even now in danger of being completely blown away, to work at full capacity. Wrong! I'm gonna take a sip. While I zoned out, becoming lost in my delusions, Yua fell grandly on her ass without any warning. She rubbed her butt, looking a bit as if she were about to cry.
すみません。CD を踏んづけちゃったみたいです。ケース割れたかも。本当にごめんなさい。私きちんと片付けますから。いいよ。
It's okay, so hurry up and go home. In any case, what was the favor she'd brought up earlier? Though I told her not to. Yua began tidying up the trash and CDs scattered at her feet. Her expression was so apologetic that it made me start to feel like I was the one at fault.
じゃあ足の踏み場だけでも確保させてください。すいません。その後でお願い言いますから。
As she cleaned briskly, Yua looked almost like my mother, doing whatever the heck she wanted without any thought for other people's extenuating circumstances. It was the perfect example of uncalled for meddling. At times like these, someone in my position should probably offer Yua my help. As we reached for the garbage, our hands would touch. We'd say as we gazed at each other, and the atmosphere would start to get kind of intimate. What kind of love comedy is this? I'm definitely not gonna help out, okay? Yua's hand, which had been neurotically repiling the mountain of magazines, stopped. Right then, her back happened to be facing me, and I couldn't really see what she was doing. What about what? She was getting remarkably flustered. How suspicious. Poor Meg. Thinking about it more carefully, it was the same as if she were doing a search of my room. She might be trying to steal something. Fuck! I don't breathe enough when I read these. That's why I'm yawning. I yawn every time because there's almost no oxygen in my room here. Maybe she thought that with so many figures I wouldn't notice one or two missing. But you got that wrong. See here, I know everything about my brides. I noticed right away if even a single one vanished.
フィギュアには触らないでね。
はい。いえ、違うんです。村中の同人誌っていうんですか？
Oh God.
それが落ちてまして、ちょっと中身を見てみたら。
村中同人誌。Another one.
すごかったのでびっくりしました。
勝手に見ないでよ。
すいません。
What's with this situation, man? Yura frantically began moving her hands again. Having managed to create just enough space to sit down, she turned back to face me.
それで、さっき言ったお願いですけど。
Kita! Here it is. I sucked down my breath and instinctively braced myself.
さっき言ったフィギュアの予約、一緒に行ってもらえませんか？
You just do that on the web.
私、そういうアニメショップみたいなところって今まで行ったことなくて。で、私、なんだかすごくぶしつけなお願いしてますよね。すいません。私のせいで西条くんは怪我をしたのに。
I was in real danger here. This wasn't the kind of problem where I could answer her carelessly. In the first place, you and I had similar hobbies, and she'd said she liked Serotan, and she acted like she's really interested in what I had to say. And for an otaku like me, she was pretty easy to talk with. But this had to be a trap. Such an overly convenient eroge-esque development would never happen in real life. Don't be poisoned by the third dimension. Think, what on earth was Yua's goal?
すいません。今のお願いは忘れてください。私、西条くんがいろいろ話してくれるのが、嬉しくて。
Yua bowed her head to me. Considering that most 3D girls tend to be excessively pushy, she was showing unusual restraint. No girl this cute, and with such a good personality could possibly exist in reality. This was an act. Watch me reject you. I'll shut you down like a man. When Yua raised her head, what I could see of her eyes behind her glasses looked damp. Could it be that she was crying because I hadn't said anything? I'd made her cry? Hey, give me a break. I'd only ever experienced such scenes of emotional carnage in games. I was incredibly agitated, plus I felt guilty. It's often said that women's tears can become weapons, but only now did I get a sense of the truth behind those words. Honestly, I had no idea what to do. I just got in a dither and made myself increasingly impatient. I'll go with you, I started to say, but I couldn't go through with it. What if, after I said that, she told me, like, don't take it seriously, stupid. What a creep. Trapped in paranoia, I lost the ability to speak.
無理してくれなくていいです。私のわがままに石城君を付き合わせるのは良くないですし。
Oh god, oh man. Her eyes had grown even wetter than before. Droplets seemed ready to come overflowing from the corner of her eyes at any moment now.
行くよ。
言ってもらえるんですか?
Helpless, I nodded. I couldn't think of any other way to make Yua stop crying. I had the feeling that I'd strolled right into a trap, but Yua let out a relieved breath, took off her glasses and wiped her tears.
断られて当然だと思ってたのに。石城君、ありがとうございます。
She was thanking me. It looked as though I had somehow managed to avoid making her cry for real. I was the one who felt like I'd been saved. How had I ended up getting so cornered? Damn you, 3D girl. Lack of preparation was my greatest enemy.
行くとしたらいつがいいでしょう?
On top of that, where had her sorrowful expression gone? Now she looked thoroughly delighted. She might have been crying crocodile tears after all. If so, those were some professional level acting skills.
セイラちゃんの新しいフィギュアはもうすぐ発売なんですよね。
うん。きっとすぐに完売しちゃうだろうね。
Oh yeah, by the way, last episode was fused together. Last 2 episodes.
だったら早めに行った方が良さそうですね。明日とか。
According to my schedule for the week, tomorrow was certainly a school-going day. This week of all weeks, I had to go 3 times. As a result, though, next week I would only have to go twice. Tomorrow was looking to be a pretty depressing day. But if I told you... Actually, I'm not going. Now that she'd gotten all excited about it, she might start crying again. She has me wrapped around her little finger.
わかったよ。
I reluctantly gave my assent. Yua seemed pleased. Making that face at me won't be enough to trick me, you know.
西条くんは何組? 明日放課後に迎えに行きますよ。
B 組。
2年 B 組ですね。じゃあ授業が終わったら待っててください。
What? Oh, I guess they made it American. I guess she said second year class B, well, whatever. Wanting Yua to leave faster, I went on bobbing my head. Promising to hang out with the girl. This wasn't some kind of dream or delusion, was it? I pinched my cheek, just in case. It hurt.
それじゃあ長い間お邪魔しちゃってすいませんでした。足もし痛かったらお医者さんに行ってくださいね。
あ、うん。
Still seated on the sofa, I watched... Oh shit. I watched Yua go. Immediately before leaving the room, Yua turned to give me a little wave.
西条くん、また明日。
また明日っ だってさ、しかも手を振ったりして。
My cheeks were naturally slipping into a smile, so I hastily pulled my face back into place.
あの女絶対僕に惚れてる。間違いないね。
Oh man, this guy's getting it.
まあ、付き合うか付き合わないかは僕に選択肢があるわけだし、あの女を情け容赦なく振ってやるさ。お前は僕の女にふさわしくない。セイラよりいい女になって出直してこい。まあ一生無理だけどな。何しろセイラは永遠の17歳だからな。みたいな。
Like any female could ever be finer than Sarah. Lies. ChäoS is far more superior. You slut. I picked up the figure of her and rubbed it against my cheek. Sarah seemed happy, I'd say.
おっと、時間か。今のところテストに出るからな。ちゃんとノート書いておけよ。今日はここまで。
Teacher's not even there.
起立。
We're out. Suspension of disbelief.
ねえ。
Once the math teacher, what was his name again? Not like it mattered. Left the classroom. Today's classes finally reached their end. Everyone chatted about where they planned to go next, while the students in the club gathered with their fellow club members and headed off to different rooms. There were also a lot of people preparing to head straight home. So apparently in Japan, it's kind of the big deal to, after school, do something worthwhile rather than going home and playing on your computer. And there's all kind of clubs like basket, baseball, swimming, acting, comic clubs as well. Sometimes even amateur radio clubs who broadcast stuff on radios. It's not like that in Europe at all. It's like, oh, you're done school? Well, fuck off and go home. Or go study. As soon as the closing bell rang, I too usually got my stuff together for going home. But today I fretted in my seat, making an effort not to meet my classmates' gaze. After this came... sorry about that. After this came my promise to Iwa. Ordinarily, it'd be ultra exciting. Was that in fucking blue? To be waiting to head out somewhere with a girl. But right now, I was nothing but melancholy. I couldn't calm down. My stomach ached. It was the first time I'd promised to meet with a girl, so I had no clue how to handle myself. In the first place, was Yua really coming? I started to think that maybe yesterday had been one big prank, and as I waited here, she was watching me from the shadows and giggling. In a certain sense, that might be better than if she really came. In fact, there was no need to wait for her so faithfully. Wouldn't it be fine if I forgot all about her and left? Alrighty then, time to go home. Whatever the case, we were in different grades, and if I stood her up today, we would probably never meet again for the rest of our lives. Decision made, I stood up. Fuck me. That fucking looks scary as all fuck. And she doesn't look like she has a nose or a mouth, just 2 holes in her fucking skull. Someone pounded me on the back. I didn't have to see his face to know whose doing it was. Missy McKeon was... Missy McKeon was the only person in the class curious enough to call me out, and what the hell? Oh, my phone is done loading. Woo!
お前帰らないのか？いつもならチャイムが鳴ると同時に消えるのによ。俺密かに匠の音速直帰って名付けてたんだぜ。
もう帰るよ。
誰か待ってるとか。
え？
なぜ? I don't know. How do you know?
なんだよ、図星かよ。
どうして？
なんだかやけにそわそわしてたからな。教室の入り口をさっきから何度も気にしてるし。
He's sharp. But it'd be better not to say anything careless here. You mustn't forget, Takumi. At this school, you've got to stand out as little as possible. You got to be like air.
別に誰も待ってないよ。
そうか？だったら今の間はなんだよ。
それは。
Shit. Misumi-kun wasn't a bad guy, but he could really get obnoxious at times like this. Learn to read between the lines.
西条くん
Oh god, oh man. I twitched. Looking gingerly in the direction Yua's voice had come from, I saw her standing timidly at the entrance to our classroom. What a mess. It was Misumi's fault that I'd lost my chance to escape.
おい、なんだりゃ。どういうことだ？
Unusually for him, Misumi-kun seemed shaken. Throwing an arm around my shoulder, he looked at me steadily.
おい、タク、どういうことか説明しろよ。お前の彼女か？
違うよ。
I told Misumi-kun a million times that I had no interest in the third dimension.
だったら何なんだよ。言っとくが、タクの姉ちゃんとかそういうオチは期待してねえからな。引きこもりのくせに何をどうやったらあんないい女と知り合えるんだ。
昨日急に付きまとわれて。
そりゃつまりあれか？逆難されたってことか？え？この。
He grabbed me by the jaw until I started to wobble. With that, Misumi-kun finally released me.
そうか。世の中には物好きってのもいるんだな。けど、タクがまともな性癖を持ってたみたいで、少し安心したぜ。
性癖って。それに彼女とは別に何も。
そうか。頑張れよ、タク。
Misumi-kun wasn't listening to me. Getting single-handedly worked up about it, he thumped me on the back even more fiercely than before. He was definitely teasing me.
安心しろって。お前の女を寝取ったりしねえから。
だからそういう関係じゃ。
ほら、さっさと行けよ。彼女、お待ちかねみたいだぜ。
As Misumi-kun drove me away, I stumbled up to Yua. In the end, I hadn't been able to run away.
迎えに来たの迷惑でした？
That's seriously pissing me off, though. I never talk that way! Who the fuck talks that way?
いや。
It caused me tons of trouble. When I took a look back at Misumi-kun, he grinned and stuck his middle finger up at me. I had a hard time telling whether he was picking a fight with me or trying to encourage me. It'd be aggravating to keep dealing with him. I'd better get out of school post-haste.
すいません。昨日会ったばかりなのにこんなお願いをしてしまって。
いや。
So nervous. Going home from school together with a 3D girl, why, that almost made it seem like I had a life. I thought that kind of thing belonged in the world with no relation to me. I never have dreamed of being able to experience it. But at the moment, I was coming under a silent pressure from Yua. How could I be so nervous when all we were doing was walking side by side? And I had no clue as to Yua's true identity or her goal. What could she expect from a creepy otaku like me?
おとといの
いや。
Since she started talking to me so suddenly, startlement had made my voice come out weirdly. No shit. It seemed that Yua was nervous as well. Her expression was strained. It made her seem rather innocent. For an older girl, she might be unexpectedly moe. That said, though, it was all I could do just to glance at her out of the corners of my eyes. Looking at her straight on shouldn't have been a big deal, but sheer embarrassment made it impossible for me.
おとといのブラチュー見ましたよね。
うん。
私、一箇所だけいまいちよくわからないところがあったんですけど、すすむくんがセイラちゃんのピンチに駆けつけてきて助けてくれますよね。でもどうしてすすむくんはセイラちゃんが危ないって分かったのかなって。
あれは先週の回に伏線があったんだ。セイラの携帯が鳴ってるシーンが一瞬だけ挿入されてて、着信表示で進むの名前が出てる。
うん。
そういえばそんなシーンありましたね。
山田がそういう細かい伏線をあちこちに貼るのが好きなんだ。キンゴルでも似たようなことをやってた。
I think it's quite obvious lots of different people worked on this translation project. I can't believe one guy translated this. There's too much writing styles that differ.
山田くキンゴル？
山田くっていうのはブラチューの監督の愛称だよ。で、山田くがブラチューの前に監督やってたアニメがキンゴル。
うん。
へえ。じゃあ山田くさんって有名な監督さんなんですね。
まあ僕は好きな方かな。なんでかっていうと。
What the? As I lectured you on this and about anime, we arrived in front of Animate. Wow, we'd gotten there way faster than I thought. For your many delusion and illusion. I'd gotten so into it that I talked too much. It was because Yua was good at listening. She heard me out with true interest, while I showed off my knowledge in all kinds of areas. That was why, even though I was aware it had to be a trap, I found myself wanting to tell her everything I knew. I was supposed to be bad at talking. This was a first for me. I could converse with her almost as if I were chatting online. What a strange sensation.
なんだかドキドキしてきました。先に帰ったりしないでくださいね。
It's a fucking Her demeanor growing increasingly nervous, you asked one of the clerks about pre-ordering the post-awakening version of Sarah. I simply watched from beside her. I'd been casing the place for a chance to escape, but Yua kept throwing anxious looks at me, so I couldn't move an inch. Afterward, at Yua's request, we looked around the rest of the store. An overjoyed Yua told me no matter how much money I brought here, I'd want to buy more, but I didn't have the energy to smile back at her. New CG. Apparently Yua took the train to and from school. As a result, I had to accompany her to Shinsen train station. She seemed gentle and timid, but she was actually pretty stubborn. She'd couch her demands in such a way that they didn't seem at all demanding or selfish. Fuck, I cannot read. That was dark of her, man. Yua had to be one of those dark characters.
西条くんって携帯は持ってないんですか？
Nope. You abruptly asked me right as we arrived at the station. Cell phone, huh? I feebly shook my head.
持ってないんですか。それじゃ連絡が取れないですね。
連絡?
What did she plan to accomplish by contacting me? Surely she didn't intend to make me mail her over for every little thing.
でも西条くんパソコン持ってましたよね。私も持ってるからメールアドレスを交換しませんか？
どうして？
フィギュアの発売日に取りに行かなくちゃいけませんよね。その時にまた一緒に。まだ一人でアニメ8に行く勇気はないから。
How skillfully done.
それに
This girl was ingenious.
私、西条くんと
Even though I understood that, I couldn't refuse her. I'd feel bad if I turned her down.
もっと
The third dimension was truly terrifying.
仲良くなりたいから。
Was it because I wasn't used to talking to people? Or because her conversation skills were just that good? Whatever the case, it didn't seem like Hyo would be ready to return until I gave her my mail address. Yet she anxiously looked up at me through her glasses. For some reason, it stole away my will to resist. Well, of course, you're into glasses girls, right? That's what I told you to be! Despite the fact that goosebumps covered my whole body and chills were running down my spine, I could neither run away nor reject her. There was something bizarre about Hyo. This atmosphere wasn't normal. I couldn't clearly explain why it wasn't in normal words, but in any case it was abnormal. Before I realized it, I'd written my mail address on a scrap of notebook paper and handed it over to Yua. After happily accepting it, Yua nodded to me and disappeared into the station. I stood there, dazed for a full 10 minutes, feeling as though my soul had been sucked out of me. Wow. Impressive. Oh boy. This cannot be good. What do you think of a girl like that? I have no idea what to do anymore. She's definitely got some kind of ulterior motive. That's all I can come up with. Hey, are you listening, Grim? What is the name of this eroge? That night, as we chatted, I tried Grim's advice on what to do about Yua. I didn't think anything would come of it if I went around suspecting everyone and everything all on my own. But there was his answer. To be fair, I'd had the exact same reaction the first time I spoke with Yua. I was an idiot for asking you. Wait, lol, you're serious? Man, you've got flags standing up all over the place. When you do things, you sure get them done right. Nah. Dude, who was it who said he wasn't interested in the third dimension? Look, it's not that kind of relationship. Grim reacted the same way as Mitsumikun. What if, contrary to all the expectations, they were the same person? That would be fucking crazy. Anyways, I'm going to save it. Who knows? Maybe Grim is the same person as Mitsumi. That'd be fucking cool. Alright, I'll see you guys later. See you then. Or if Grim turns out to be a girl. Ooh. Or Shogun is Fess, the girl singer. Whatever.